so, is it different? And if it's not, fantastic, great. Maybe we're doing a great job. But I want to get your understanding of this as well, Christina. I'm gonna come to you. Then I'll come to you winter after. Intimacy for you, is it different when it's dealing with us as men than it is with your female friends? Would you say?
I would say no. If I have the right man, then I think it's not that big of a difference. I mean, it just go. There's some things I can share with my female friends that I can't necessarily. No, I can't even say that. No, I don't think there's a difference. If I have the right man, then obviously I feel as though I can share just about anything with them. There are some, as Sean said earlier, there are some shared experiences that I have with my friends, but overall, I wouldn't say there's a huge difference.
Fair point. Appreciate Christina. Winter, talk to me. Do you find there's a difference between the intimacy when you're dealing with a male friend or a female friend? Was there a difference in there? Let me unmute you. Sorry, my bad. I haven't unmuted you. Go for it.
No, you're fine. Hello, everyone. I don't know what I just walked off into, but
Okay.
like,
You walked into intimacy. That's what you walked into, baby.
oh goodness. Would I say they're different? I really think it depends on the guy, and it depends on the friend group. I think time and safety mean a lot. I think it's easier for women to be open and vulnerable with their girlfriends because there's a safety there. Whereas with the
Mm.
guy, you're having to get to know over time to build that safety. It's not automatic because this is a new person in your life. Yes, you started there with a woman, but you just, I don't know, women just have this thing. I think we create a culture of safety in a sense where there's sisterhood, you're going to feel more safe and willing to be more vulnerable. That's not always the case with guys, and it takes sometimes a man who is emotionally intelligent to bring that out of a woman early on. And that's not a knock to women who aren't, but or to men who aren't, but I'm just saying, like, I've seen myself be able to open up to a man that's emotionally intelligent versus me being like, I don't know if you can handle this information because you're giving me maybe immature vibes or not just ready to handle. So I'll kind of slow play, my willingness to give or share because I don't feel that safety. So I think it just depends on the situation, and it certainly depends on the man. I won't put every man in that boat because I've met some pretty emotionally intelligent men where they're almost shoot more safer than some of these. Y'all ever watch me on Love and Marriage DC? That was not the environment to be putting my business out there. So I really think it just depends. You can feel safer with a guy if he's that type of guy. But there are some women who are just not safe, and that's a real thing. So Dahlia, I just spoke on that, so I'm with you. Yeah, there are some women that are not safe as well. So I think it just depends. But there could be pros and cons with both, but you can find it in both. Just depends on the person.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Winter. Ajuba, any thoughts of this part of the conversation? Go
Um,
for it.
well, I agree with Winter. It depends on the group of friends and it depends on the man. But I'm a little bit old school in the sense that I should be, at a certain point with my partner, I should be able to not have to differentiate, you know? There are some things that, you can only go to the sisterhood for, and there are things you can only really go to your partner for, But growing up, I actually had, you know, I grew up with a lot of women in my family and going to church when I used to be, back in church, I just a lot of women. So like say like at school as a child, I had a lot of uh like, boys I used to hang out with and girls too, but I was a tomboy, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of carried that into like my adulthood. But that being said, I am very much for women and women's empowerment. But I do find in certain contexts, there are certain conversations where I can kind of let my hair down a little bit more, talking to my homeboy, you know what I'm saying? But the value and the pricelessness of having like a sisterhood cannot be replaced by like anything. But when you have a partner, I feel like at some point in time, There are certain things that you should be able to go to them first for, but that depends if the man is wise, if he's emotionally intellectual, if he understands women, you know, um, and if he's just kind of open-minded in that regards, and also like a safe space.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, sis. I appreciate it. All right, so let me ask this question as well, because I think it's a key one. And it's just slipped out of my mind. Where did it go to? I think someone put it in the chat as well. So, but it was a point I wanted to make, see what you guys thought around intimacy. Okay, so I want to know something, because obviously sometimes, if anyone's experienced this, you can talk about this. So sometimes what can happen is, let's say, for instance, I remember when I was younger, I would found myself being more vulnerable with women than I was with men. Just gonna be honest with you. That's how I was with me when I was younger, because I felt like men sometimes didn't know how to have the conversation about feelings, right? And I'm wondering, is it the same for any of you men? But then is it also the same for you ladies, where sometimes there are certain conversations you just want to have with the opposite sex, and there's something that you can get from them that you don't necessarily get from the same sex? And what is that you potentially are getting from the opposite sex in terms of conversation, safety, and intimacy, whatever it is? What is that particular piece? If you just have a little bit of a think about that. I know, because and it might not be everybody's experience. Some people might not have that experience per se, but I thought I'd just give that an example. I think there's some times where I'll be like, yo, let me call one of my girls, because I know that, fam, they're gonna, if they give me a perspective, they're gonna give me a perspective. I know they're gonna give me this understanding, I'll be able to get it. And sometimes I call my boys, but I'm like, yeah, they're not, he ain't gonna get that point, so I need to just, let me switch one to the ladies real quick and see if they get it. But that's not every time, and that's not everybody's experience. Some people don't really have that. So I wanted to know, for the ladies or for the gents, have you experienced that? Do you have something different? I want to get your perspective on that. V, you're nodding your head, so I'm gonna go to you first. So talk to me.
So basically, because of the industry that I work in and my experiences, I've mostly been around older males. So that experience has allowed me to get a lot of perspective and insight. So I feel like I lean more towards going to males if I'm going through certain situations, especially when it comes to males, to get a real answer and insight. And men love to bring solutions, right? So I go there to get my solutions if I just want to get it done, straight to the point. So I feel like I lean more towards older males just based on my life experience. So
I love that point. Don't leave. When you said you go to men, I just want to pick up on this, and I wonder if this is the same for other ladies as well. You said something really interesting. You go there, you get an immediate solution. Is that something that you've experienced quite a lot with the opposite sex? That when we do have our conversations, we tend to go straight for the solutions aspect. Is that different? Is that a difference that you've noticed with men and women, just for your personal experience?
Yes, I feel like, I mean, we talked about, I think, on the last panel, most of the time with the ladies, they will go along on the whole ride with you. If you want to explain the whole journey, how you got there, how you felt when everything was going on, they will be there with you. They will empathize. They might not give you a solution. They might say, let's go flatten this man's tires, but it might not give you a solution. It might be more emotionally led. Sorry. Whereas you go to a guy and you're like, hey, this thing happened. He'll be like, that sounds like this. You might need to hit the escape button because this is what this sounds like. And they'll give it to you straight up. You don't even have to tell the whole story. They'll hear the top 3 points and they'll tell you exactly what they feel it is. And usually it's a solution. Not saying women don't give solutions, but.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Since you said that, I want to go to the ladies now and tap into that. If any other lady, have you experienced that same thing? Do you feel like there's that little bit of that little bit of a difference between us men and women in terms of that respect, in terms of maybe the speed of going into solution? Go for it, Christina. If you open your mic, go for it.
Yes. So most of my besties are males because I feel like sometimes they do take the emotion out of it. And again, like girls will listen to you, they'll be for the drama. But my male friends are kind of like, okay, it's kind of like it is what it is. And they will come up with a solution or give you a better way of handling it without the emotions and the attachments and all that other stuff. So yes, I do tend to go to males for their advice.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Winter, would you say that's the same thing for you? No, not Winter giving us that look. Winter, is that the same for you? She said,
Yeah, I mean, it's true. And I think that's why it's great to have both sexes as good friends. So I purposely actually have a guy that I go to all the time because he gives the best wisdom. It is so sound. It's not, I don't know, it's just always so logical and sound. I always go to him if I'm feeling a little bit confused, but I also have a girlfriend that's like that too. So I get both. And I think it's necessary. I think we kind of shortchange ourselves when we kind of limit ourselves to one sex over the other. I think it's best if we have it from both. It's my thoughts.
no, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, you didn't have to tell everybody about our friendship, Winter. It's not everybody you have to tell that and we're wise. You know what I mean? Keep that low key for us, okay? Don't let them know about that. Thank you, Winter. I appreciate it. Ajoba, would you say the same thing for you? Is that similar, or is that something a little bit different in your eyes? Do you feel like male friendships tend to go more to the solution orientated aspect, or is that not the same case for you? Your experience?
Absolutely. I totally agree, but I do have some women that I know that are the same way, so, but what I find is that with women, they'll ask you more questions, so you can kind of come to your own kind of solution as well as like suggest things, whereas a man will just kind of like just tell you what route you should kind of take. I kind of find that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. All right, thank you. Okay, it's good to know that. So it sounds like universal consensus here that when dealing with the opposite sex for women to the men, we tend to be a bit more solution orientated, or at least the speed of getting to the solution tends to be a much more quicker process. Kind of cut out the fluff and get straight into the stuff. Okay, that's what it sounds like. For the men on the panel, dealing with the opposite sex, do you find that you tend to be a more openly emotional with the ladies, or do you find them be more solution orientated? Like when you're dealing with the opposite sex, what is it you tend to get from the ladies? What is the positive stuff you tend to get from them? I want to understand your perspectives too. David, talk to me.